It's been a pleasure for me to have worked with the father of bodybuilding, Joe Weider, for the past 2 decades. I've heard him tell this story dozens of times of how he created the Weider principles. Over 60 years ago, he began to understand that bodybuilders worldwide needed to have a common language to share insights, tools, and techniques that worked. In the many years that followed, he talked to thousands of bodybuilders, hundreds of medical experts, and countless athletes. And in the process of collecting data, ideas, and bodybuilding lore, and building a publishing empire, he assembled what is widely known as the gold standard of strength training axioms, the Weider principles. Whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced bodybuilder, these principles can help you develop exactly the amount of muscle you desire. These are not rules to shut you down, but rather options to help vary and personalize your individual workout so that you can progress and hit your personalized goals. Think of them as a toolbox into which you can reach at any time to help you keep your training workouts and cycles in peak running condition so that you can make the most out of your training time. Another important value of the Weider principles is variety, which is not only essential for muscle conditioning, but also adds enjoyment in your workout by keeping things fresh. The Weider principles that guide beginner strength trainers lay the foundation for progressive development right up to the highest levels of competitive bodybuilding. Every champion knows them inside and out, beginning with the set system training principle. In the old days, bodybuilding went slowly, mass grew slowly, muscle weight gain was sluggish. Why? Because even the competitive pros only did 12 reps for each exercise. The set system training principle vaulted results and bodybuilding into a new age by pointing out that performing multiple sets of each exercise, giving each muscle a more thorough workout, builds strength and mass more quickly. For beginners, we strongly recommend 2 to 4 sets each of 1 to 4 exercises per body part. You will find more than enough choices of body part exercises on each program in this series. As you grow stronger, you need to experiment with and increase the amount of weight you use. Lift the same amount of weight every time and you'll plateau. To continue making gains, your muscles need to work harder in a progressive manner. There are a few ways of putting this principle to use. You can increase your weights each session, whether by doing more reps or more sets, or you can decrease your rest period between sets. The key idea: work your muscles harder over time. This principle is the bedrock of the Weider system, and athletes train by it worldwide. Some people misunderstand this principle as meaning you'll attack only one muscle in an exercise. Any of you who have lifted before know that using only one muscle is impossible, but you can target maximum stress into a particular muscle group. Simply put, certain exercises are better for certain muscles, and through knowing which is which, and importantly, through proper technique, you can massively maximize the impact of your training session. For every exercise in the muscle and fitness training system, we tell you which muscles to isolate and how to prevent recruiting the rest of your body to do the targeted muscles hauling. Variety is a spice of life, and it is the engine behind the muscle confusion training principle as well. Any professional bodybuilder will tell you that to make progress, you have to vary something, anything in your workout. The number of sets, the number of reps, exercise choice, order of exercises, even the length of your rest periods, all to avoid your body falling into a rut, not making new advances. Remember, every muscle group has areas that get passed over if you do the same exercises over and over again. You want to hit those neglected spots, and you also want to make sure you are hitting weaker muscles that aren't in the forefront of your consciousness, which probably means they're getting left behind too. This principle assures that you hit all your muscles at slightly different angles, making for better balance, better health, and a better physique all around. I want you to remember something. The beginning principles aren't just there to get you started. They form the fundamentals of all training routines, right to the performance stage at Joe Weider's Mr. Olympia competition. Work with them exclusively for the first 6 to 9 months or a year of training. As you move into adapting the following intermediate principles, maintain them as part of your individualized program. Now let's move to the intermediate level, where you can really pack on the meat. Taking careful measurements and interviewing bodybuilders over extended periods of time, Joe Weider chronicled the value of what is now a cardinal axiom of strength training: splitting your workouts instead of training your whole body in one session. He discovered that bodybuilders trained more intensely when they split their workouts and they grew bigger, faster, better. This principle divides your body so that you can target individual muscle groups more completely and perform each workout with more intensity. For example, applying this principle, you will drill more energy into your chest and shoulders in one session, focusing more energy on them, doing more sets to work them, and pushing heavier weights. The split system, it means more focus. It means you get bigger and stronger faster. Just as the split system divided the body to focus more power on specific muscle groups, so does the cycle training principle subdivide your training year into periods of intense, dedicated effort towards achieving specific goals, whether they be strength, mass building, or cuts. Cycle training means you cut your year into 3 or 4 units, changing your focus for each period. It's another way to avoid plateauing, to add variety, to spur visible progress, and, don't ever discount the importance of this, to give you the satisfaction of hitting attainable, targeted goals. The superset principle is an additional way to break through plateaus. One of the best known of all the Weider principles, it recommends performing 2 sets of 2 opposing muscle group exercises done back to back. That means, for example, you superset biceps curls and triceps press downs, or superset your quads against your hamstrings. Not only does this pump up the volume in a specific body part, it can also aid muscle recovery. I know you might think the opposite, but consider the biomechanics of it. If you just blitz your biceps, they will be forced to relax or extend as your triceps contract. The push-pull effect of this principle makes intuitive sense as well as recuperative sense. Related to supersets, this principle can get you pumping a muscle group into new territory when you do 2 sets of exercises for the same muscle group back to back. When you train shoulders, for example, you might do a set of dumbbell presses, followed by a set of lateral raises with no rest in between. Think of it as bodybuilding's double whammy. The pyramid training principle utilizes a range of lighter to heavier weights in each exercise and is best for building size and strength. Start light with higher reps, then gradually increase the weight in each successive set while lowering your reps. The pyramid principle also suggests you reverse the procedure, moving from high weight and low reps to low weight and high reps to get the most out of varying your repetitions and weights. The holistic principle suggests using many types of training techniques to stimulate maximum muscle fibers. For example, you can mix it up with high and low reps, or faster and slower speeds, or using slightly alternate exercises to hit your muscles from different angles. The goal? To work all your fibers without overstressing any one of them. Think of the holistic principle as a variation tool that helps you cover all your bases. Use this priority principle to prioritize and pump up a slow-growing muscle group. By hitting your weakest body part first and hard in your workout, you will focus more intensity on it because your energy is higher and your motivation is undiluted. This one is simple. Identify the muscle you want to work most and hit it first. The flushing principle is focused body part training. You train one body part hard with a variety of exercises before you move on to train another body part. The result? Your body will respond by sending a maximum amount of blood to that targeted area during your high-intensity focus, which is extremely conducive to stimulating growth. If you work it, the blood will come. Isotension is especially favored among bodybuilders because it enhances their ability to pose. The isotension principle is all about muscle control. That means when you hit your peak contraction, whether in a shoulder shrug, a pull down, or press, you hold that contraction for 3, 4, 5, even 6 seconds, because that constant isometric flex builds sustained muscle control, which is a key element during a posing routine. We are now moving into a realm where experience counts. It could mean the difference between success and failure. So please do not begin to apply these principles until you have been training for well over a year. If you have a personal trainer to get you started in them, all the better. If not, seek the guidance of a bodybuilder or one more experienced than you, at least to bring you through the first stages of your advanced training. This stage is comprised essentially of ways to shock your muscles into spurts of greater growth. This principle suggests you train twice or 3 times daily. Sound tough? It is. And only but a few competitive bodybuilders apply it to their routine. But they don't do full body workouts. They double or triple split. They train 1 or maybe 2 body parts per session. And they just do a few heavy sets to keep their workout short, but giving maximum impact. Trisets offers an intense, grueling session and should only be attempted once you have developed significant endurance. Trisets means performing not 2, but 3 full-on exercise for one muscle group and doing them in non-stop sequence. This is a hardcore muscle burner, and besides adding significant pain, can add significant bulk. Giant sets offers yet another step up the excruciating pain gain ladder of intensity. This principle demands 4 consecutive exercises for a single muscle group, and the world-class bodybuilders who apply it report that it is good for the heart, good for endurance, and good for visible bursts of muscle growth. Staggered sets provide priority training for smaller muscle groups like calves, forearms, and traps. Advanced bodybuilders might alternate sets for these body parts into their routine while they train a major body part, slipping in a couple of sets of calf raises, for example, between heavy sets of chest work. Sometimes you might see beginners in the gym cheat a weight up because they're trying to remove stress on the muscles they're supposed to be working. Advanced bodybuilders, however, use the cheating principle to increase stress, working beyond momentary muscular failure to recruit additional muscle fibers. The idea here is to cheat out another rep or 2 after you've achieved failure to push yourself beyond your previous limits, as it were, by any means necessary. Pre-exhaustion works like this. You exhaust a particular muscle with a single joint exercise, then follow it hard with a compound movement. For example, you might pre-exhaust your quads by doing leg extensions, then immediately follow up with a set of squats, making the multi-joint squat exercise that much more difficult. This will help you recruit parts of that specific muscle you wouldn't otherwise rely on, thus the value of pre-exhausting the usually worked parts. After an exhaustion set, some bodybuilders push even further with the Burns training principle. Here you would continue with a series of partial reps as long as your muscles can move the weight, even if it's only a few inches. Try applying this principle at the end of each of a few sets. Partial reps suggests that you lift heavier weight using a shortened range of motion. Clearly, this is a long way from the basic principles of full extension strength training, but the goal is different. Here, it is to superdevelop the muscularity of a particular part of the targeted muscle. We recommend partial reps to be done on a power rack, where you can do many different exercises and make use of many different pin settings. This principle offers 2 specific benefits. You can improve a weak area, or you can overload the motion precisely where you are strong. Ready for another brutal advanced training method? You've come to the right place. This one is so harsh you require helpers. After completing your reps in a maximum weight set, have two spotters quickly and evenly strip off an equal amount of weight from the bar. Continue now to do reps until you fail. Then again, have them strip more weight to allow you to complete more reps. Achieve that sweet, painful failure once again. Then again, have them strip off a little bit more iron and keep you going till you can't move the bar. Now that's a workout. Usually, you train with slow, controlled, full extension movements. The idea here is to burst through the normal rhythm of your training to work a very specific component of your muscle tissue. Here, you explode through the movement rather than slowly lift in order to selectively grow your fast-twitch muscle fiber complex. This explosive principle is also called super speeding. This principle is kind of the opposite of speed training. The theory behind continuous tension, which you achieve by lifting with slow, controlled motion, thereby eliminating momentum, is that you keep maximum muscle tension for maximum development. Think of speed training and continuous tension as complementary because both can be equally productive. The peak contraction principle fits in well with the controlled exercise motion as a way to further maximize and elongate muscle tissue. You can practice this principle by squeezing your contracted muscle isometrically at the finish of a motion. This will help you develop not only faster, but will also help you develop more muscular control. The eclectic principle is really a subcategory of the confusion principle. Here you construct each body part routine with some mass building, some multi-joint movements, and several single joint exercises. If you are already avoiding same rep weight routines, you are probably already employing this principle. This one's not hard to understand, but putting it to work takes listening closely to your body and your goals. Basically, this principle advises you to follow your own instincts in designing your training, and from day to day, choosing the principles that seem best. It means learning and knowing what works best for you. Advanced training means advanced intensity, and we've saved the most intense for last, both requiring a strong spotter. Forced reps means you enlist the aid of a spotter as you start failing on a normal set to help you finish a couple of more reps with assistance through the sticking point areas. Your partner, in effect, is forcing you to supersede your ability to lift on your own. Reverse gravity means you resist the downward motion of a very heavy weight, up to 25% beyond what you can normally handle in a positive movement. You fight the negative as you slowly lower the bar to your chest, and then have your partner assist you with the positive portion. This principle is also commonly called negatives. That's it. That should keep anybody busy for quite a while. But it could also take you to championship level if applied judiciously over time. You don't have to use all the principles all the time, but understanding each of them means that you now have the choice of tools to use what suits your goals best. Applying these principles is essential for making continual progress in your strength and fitness goals. I'm Dr. Tom Dieters. Good luck.